Hello, thank you for joining us at Peace Through Action USA. If this is your first time with us, our mission is to achieve peace between people and within communities in the United States by promoting caring action. We activate and equip Americans to implement practical, peaceful solutions to aggression and violence in their communities and our country. Our mission activities contribute to the advancement of a nation abundant with peaceful people, applying peaceful practices, and creating peaceful places. One of the ways that we achieve this is through our featured Peacebuilders initiative, which is an expression of our belief that all of us can be peace builders. Very few of us will reach the heights of Gandhi, Martin Luther King, or Desmond Tutu, but each of us can do something for peace. And today, our featured peace builder is Christina Miller, Crisis Intervention Specialist at the Trevor Project, who will also be joining us in September for their field placement through their Master's in Social Work at Salisbury University. We're happy to have you with us, Christina. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Elena. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, so first I want to just ask you to tell me more about the Trevor Project and describe your role for us.
Yeah. Oh, the Trevor Project has been amazing. Um, I learned after I worked there, I've known it's been a LGBTQ plus resource for most of my life. But their actual mission is to end suicide among LGBTQ plus youth. Um, and so that's what most of their services go towards, but they also have a lot of research components that they're working into the organization. Um, as a crisis intervention specialist, I actually work with the Trevor Project for the new 988 hotline. It's a federally funded national 3-digit mental health crisis hotline. And in the directory of 988, if you press 3, if you're LGBTQ plus, you'll be connected with the Trevor Project team. And um, I operate phones and answer the phones on the hotline. And we, build safety plans. Our goal is de-escalation. I've learned a lot about crisis management skills and how specifically important it is to provide space and hold the space for people to express themselves and comfort themselves and de-escalate themselves. Um, it's been a really cool experience. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for sharing that. And it's good to know, that resource exists. I
Yes,
know,
it does. Yeah.
I know it's important. And I know, as someone who identifies as queer and who's struggled with depression in the past, it's really valuable to know with the rates of mental health as they are for people in the queer and trans community that there's a place to go. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
so thank you for sharing that. I'm curious, like, in what ways, do you believe that the work that you do is promoting peace in the community?
Yeah, when I started this job, I thought it would be a lot of gaining information, collecting demographics and deploying resources or calls or what have you, and a lot of talking people down from the ledge, if you will. Um, but it's actually been so much more about community support. And, one of the biggest parts of training that I had challenges with was learning that as hotline counselors, we do not solve any problems. We are not there to fix anything. We do not offer any solutions or advice, even. Um, it's all about, like I said, that holding space and that just like one person listening to another person, and just how much that really impacts people's mental health positively and decreases violence and decreases emergencies. It's been amazing to just answer the phone, and sometimes, maybe I only say 20 words between my 6 questions, and maybe they talk for 20 minutes, and by the end of the call, sometimes you can really just hear that somebody has truly been listened to and been validated as a person, and you can just hear their voice a little more hopeful, and it makes me feel a little more hopeful. It's been so lovely, and just the closest I've definitely felt to actually spreading peace among people, which is funny because I work at my computer, but it's been really powerful.
Yeah, I love that. Just the idea that holding space is a way of promoting peace, just offering that place for people to find comfort and safety, and how that can really lead people away from the actions or activities that are contrary to peace, right?
Yeah, and there's actually one of the most prolific statistics I really remember from a lot of the Trevor research I've been trained on is that just having one supportive adult in a young person's life, specifically in the trans and non-binary community, decreases their likelihood of attempting suicide by 40%. Just one person saying, I'm here for you. I still love you. You matter. And I really remember that. I think about that a lot.
Yeah, that's really profound. I think that all it takes is just one person. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, it sounds like it's very rewarding. I also know it's very heavy. I'm curious, just was there a point, a turning point for when you decided this kind of work, social work, that this is the route you wanted to go?
Um, yes and no. I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do out of college. Um, but I knew I needed a job because I needed to pay my bills. And I knew I graduated in 2020, by the way, from undergrad. So in the state of things, um, I I'm also immunocompromised, and so the COVID pandemic has put things in a new perspective for me. And in the beginning, things were very intense for everybody, and there were a lot of questions for me surrounding my options and potential risks, and what's worth it, what isn't, what matters, what doesn't. Um, and I realized that though I need to have a job, I need to do something that matters to me and that makes me feel like I'm doing something to. Okay, so this is one of the moments. In June of 2020, the George Floyd protests started happening. And it was still the beginning of the pandemic. And so I was isolated, quarantined in an absolute bubble, a 2-person bubble. Go to the grocery store at midnight, wipe off our groceries, like the whole deal, the whole 9 yards, life changing. And when all this was happening on the internet and the protests in person, I'm from close to Baltimore, and I have a lot of friends of color, and it really was important to me to support, but specifically not be performative. And I realized that I couldn't go out and protest. I couldn't go into a crowd. I couldn't do things with my body, but that maybe I can do things more long term with my mind and with my work. And that definitely sticks in my mind as one of the moments that, I was like, I'm not just going to work to have money. I want to work in something that is worth my time to do, a career that I think is really a good use of life. And for me right now, that's working in the mental health field, and specifically focusing on issues that are really close to home for me, like disability, LGBTQ plus, everything, survivors of sexual and gender violence, everything, a lot of different caveats and problems facing all those groups. And yeah, that's sort of why I do this.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And that resonates with me too. I remember that groundswell of a moment. And, I also was isolating. I was living with my parents at the time because I couldn't find a place to live that was affordable where I was working, but I was working remotely as an organizer. And I remember just how many people were looking for something to do that made them feel like they were being part of that change, whatever that looked like for them. And it's really, yeah, it's really important that even as that moment has passed, that the movement, to be part of something bigger and changing, the conditions of our world, like that hasn't gone away. And we keep pushing for that.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly. The problems haven't come and gone, and they didn't start with George Floyd. It's
right.
It's something that we have to learn about, educate ourselves about, stick with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I know you shared that earlier you had started an LGBTQIA plus community hour. And I'm curious to hear more about that. So, it sounds like it also is providing that space to contribute something meaningful to the community. Yeah, can you share more about what that is?
Yeah. Similarly, most of my life has been hugely impacted by COVID and the pandemic post March 2020. And part of that is where I live now. And so I live in a very rural part of Southern Maryland, where I don't have any family around here. I don't even have any of my doctors here. I have to travel 2+ hours to do most of those personal things. Not a big community or friend group here. I knew people from college. I went to college down here and I knew people from there, but they move away, and I'm not in college anymore. And it was really difficult for me living here. I was doing social work in person in Great Mills, Maryland. And I found myself a lot of times just feeling really stuck and misunderstood and unsupported. And that was definitely partly due to my job. But it was also because I wasn't talking to other people that I connected with around here. And so then once I started my master's program, I quit my full-time job as a case manager and I started working part-time at a local coffee shop. And it was just the rush of people that I needed and conversation and small talk, but small talk only gets you so far. And being in this rural area, there's a lot of, let's just say I've experienced plenty of homophobia just at my 8 months at the coffee shop, at the very progressive coffee shop, mind you. But, and that's fine. That's, what have you. But I really wanted to find people around here that I could talk to and were going through similar things as me. I know I'm not, an alien going through things only I'm going through. I know there's other people around here scared and in need of community and places to express themselves, but also, express themselves and be happy and positive and find empowerment, but also express themselves and express their fear and express their challenges and be validated and normalized by other people. And so once I started at the coffee shop, there sort of grew to be a larger presence of queer employees. And me and another employee decided that it would be an amazing idea to have a community hour while they also had open mic nights. So the shop was open, but only one of the rooms was taken. We would let's do something with the other half of the building. And that is sort of how the community hour got started, and put flyers at the local colleges and community colleges and reached out to some people, I used to know. And like I said, the local college has a rainbow room and such and advertised there and whatnot. And we've grown in size, which has been just so lovely. Because, I haven't, it's not about, I don't know, matchmaking in a sense or finding your new best friend. It's about that holding space again, and in this opportunity I get to occupy the space as well. And it's just been really lovely to, go in there and express how different you are from these people that are also in the queer community. It's been lovely. And we just sort of brainstorm and chat and get to know each other. And this bigger web is growing, and this bigger presence is growing. It's stronger. It's like, more of a steady foot now, and I'm really proud of that. I'm really happy about that. Even for, a progressive local coffee shop, that is plenty inclusive, there was still plenty of room to be pushed around, and now that's a lot smaller, and that makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's wonderful. You're pushing the boundaries of what's possible in that community, and providing a space that people, I'm sure, wanted but didn't know how to access, right?
Yeah, and I definitely make a point to keep it as inclusive as possible. It's a wheelchair accessible venue. If it wasn't, I would hold it outside in an accessible place. Masks are optional, but I always wear a mask for my own safety, but also to let other people know that it's safe if they want to wear a mask as well. And yeah, it's gentle, and it's just sort of come at your own pace and come as you are. And I think that's been just the most wonderful thing. For some people in the group, it's one of the 10,000 things they do in a week. For other people in the group, it's the only thing they do all month. And it's really lovely to have that intersection. And yeah.
Yeah, I'm also kind of hearing a pattern. Last month we talked with Mariana Lanham, who's doing education, peace education for women and girls, and just mentioned specifically for the girls that they mentor how it's really about this idea that we're all different and we're all the same at the same time, right? And that we can find the space for our individuality to shine through while also recognizing our common humanity. And it's great, to just see that space and that pattern carrying out in community.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Yeah. I think, and working with the Trevor Project as well, it's shown me that all of this journey towards, advocacy and acceptance and what have you, equality, it's so much about learning to accept the nuance of things and learning to take each moment of our lives, I feel like, for a little more value, and each person's identity as valid and valuable because they say it, and just, yeah, yeah. Lost my train of thought a little bit, but yeah.
It's okay. No, I thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious too, if you have any advice for people who want to make a lasting change in their community, like what kind of lessons maybe you learned from starting this community hour that others can apply to the kind of things they want to do in theirs.
Yeah. I remember what I was just saying. And it kind of goes with this as well. It's so much about accepting your own differences. So my advice for somebody starting something would be to be really humble, and I think if you're someone who's going to start something, you have some ambition, or maybe you're the last option, you're being forced to start something in a way, sort of pushed. But you probably have some great amount of ambition and determination and at least a little bit of confidence that it's something that should happen, it's something that should be done. And with that confidence and with that ambition, just being humble and honest and transparent with the people you want to join you or work with or help, and say, one of the best things I've learned in social work and at the Trevor Project is that every person is the expert of their own lives. And I think a lot of times we look to other people for expertise on ourselves, whether it's medical care or mental care, or even tell me my gender, tell me my sexuality, tell me my nationality, my ethnicity, what have you. But each person is their own expert and their own hero, and their own villain and their own empowerment. And to sort of be upfront about that and be really humble and say, I'm not you, and I don't truly know, but this is what I do know, and I want to help by doing this. And I think going with being humble also really comes respect for other people.
Mm.
And respect for not intentionally crossing boundaries without consent, and always thinking about consent. I think that really goes along with that being humble and being transparent and honest. Is to say, do you want my help? Does this community want something to be led? Does anyone want me to start this? And hearing what people have to say to that, and being, again, really humble and accepting what people have to say, and saying, I'm either wrong or I can change my ideas, or whatever.
Yeah. Thank you for highlighting just the importance of asking the community what it's
that collaboration is so crucial to it actually working.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Christina, for this time. It's been really wonderful, and getting to hear everything that you're doing and will be soon doing with us when you join in September for your field placement. We're very excited to have you working in Calvert and bringing your skills as a social worker to the work that we're trying to do in our schools. So we look forward to that, and just thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course. I really look forward to it too. It's definitely the light at the end of the tunnel I'm looking forward to. And thank you for having me. This has been really lovely to share my work.
Absolutely. Thank you.